Hey, y'all ready? Hi, and welcome to a moment with Vivacious. I am so excited today. I'm just excited about life, but good things are happening. Today we're going to talk about the thing that I believe, and if you don't believe it, then I want you to tell me you don't believe it. Look, Vivacious Speaks is our show. It's not about what I think and feel. It's about what we all think and feel. But I believe that toxicity um, is destroying our neighborhoods. That came up at the end of the last show. But I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that right now. What's destroying our communities? I remember, look, I always tell people with pride, I'm not ghetto. I'm from the hood. I'm a hood girl. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about what could be destroying us. What makes us toxic? Be right with you in a moment. While the intro is on. First of all, press subscribe if you haven't. Press like if you haven't, and text 3 people and tell them to join us. Thank you. See you in a moment. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious, a freedom ride where we the people gather to build ourselves, our family, our community, and our nation. For the sound of America for Progress has reached critical mass. Understanding that we must put aside our differences to focus on the greater good. This is a place of collaboration to rebuild and restore our nation. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious. Hi everyone, hi again. I hope you called a friend. Don't forget to press like, and we got to have a serious talk today. And our talk is on what makes us so toxic. And what is toxic? I'm not quite sure what toxic is, but I've seen a lot of people say, we got to get all the toxic people out of our life. Just put them out your life. That could even be your children, okay? Do we put them out of our life? Do we put them in a different part of our life? Or do we try to make things different? For some people, you can, and some people you can't. I was talking to a young lady today. Not today. I'm going to talk about what happened this morning. But I was talking to a young lady maybe in sometime during the last week. And she said, I know I'm toxic. It wasn't a bad thing for her to say that to me. It wasn't like she was trying to get dismissed or destroyed or stand on her own side. She was almost like, how can I save myself, kind of. I know I'm toxic. And sometimes life has hurt people so bad that they walk around toxic. And maybe some young people could help us talk about what is toxic. I'm trying to think of what we would have called toxic in my day. But today, I don't even know if I was toxic, but I think I was toxic because of a response, okay? But y'all know we ain't doing this no more, right? So let me start off with that. We ain't doing this no more. So it was time for, I got off late. It was time for me to go. I got off late. And so I'm putting everything in my phone because, you know, we don't use paper anymore. We use phones. I put everything in my phone. And it's not even, I just want to say it's not even a real app, okay? But it's okay. And it's usually the security guards there that help us. They sign out. They sign us out. Okay, so the administrator walked in the front door. It seemed like they had something going on, but the lady didn't tell us that till after. So the administrator, I didn't know she was the administrator at the time, but that don't make a difference. Your title don't entitle you to treat people rudely or disrespectfully. So she walks in the door, and I guess she puts her things down. Maybe somebody in the back briefed her on whatever was going on. And then she came to stand in the door behind the lady I've never seen before sitting in the door. But I work nights, so I'm usually out before morning shift comes. So she was saying, I was saying, the lady looked like she was just sitting there. I didn't know she was on the phone. You know, these days you don't have the receiver to your face. So I was saying, excuse me, ma'am, are you gonna be the person that help us? Just sit down. Really, for real. This is the administrator standing behind her. Just sit down. Sit down. Just sit down. I said, excuse me, did I do you something? Did I do something wrong here? And I sat down, and I said, I talked to the person next to me. I said, did I do something? Did I do something to deserve that disrespect? So sitting there, the young lady and I started talking. I said, wait, is that the administrator? Because everybody had been telling me how nasty she is, okay? So I said, well, wait, is that the administrator? And the girl said, yeah. I said, oh, well, I didn't know, but that shouldn't make a difference. So I was waiting because they quit to do not return, you know. But I don't care. We ain't doing that no more. So nothing. The lady came out when she finished the phone call, and she said, well, let me sign. What do I do with this? And I explained to her what she needed to do with it. And she signed it and everything, and I was on my way. But why? Why do we treat each other like that? Good evening, Sigrid. You know, why do we feel like when not everybody is not like this, okay? I'm not trying to say everybody is like this, but what I'm trying to say is why we feel like it's okay. It's okay to treat each other like that. It's okay for you to snap at me, be rude and ugly. But she walked out. She didn't apologize. But the lady who was on the phone did apologize. And she was handling something that wasn't good. And I think that somebody could have said that because we don't read minds. But I want to go back. What causes toxicity? Why, you know, after talking to this young lady, she was like, I have trust issues. And every time something is going on good, I become afraid. So I just, you know, start confusion, or, you know, I become the problem when everything is going good. So, you know, I'm not going to get into anybody's personal business, but I'm sure she don't mind me sharing that much because I asked, of course. So when you know that you're toxic, when you know that poison is pumping through your soul, what do you do about it? And some people are toxic just because, you know, they feel like I deserve, if this is toxicity, if you don't think this is toxicity, please say it. But I think that it came up at the end of the show last week, and we're dismissing toxicity from our lives. And I found, and within a week's time, that it's good. Um, it's a good thing to move it on the side so you can do your own healing. But do we become toxic because we don't know? We because we're hurt and we're not healed. And in doing preparing for a documentary that I'm doing, I found out even, and I'm not trying to say we better than other people, but I found out even when we're working hard to do, to help other people, to build our families, to build our homes, to be a person of integrity on our jobs, I found out that we we have to go through a lot of stuff. We take black women, and if you're another woman, and you a woman of another race or creed, a woman of color or not, and you're feeling something, say something. But we have to go through a whole lot to just help build someone else. So the pain we're pushing through, for an example, the pain that we push through to go to a job every day. On my job, people that can't even clean themselves will curse us out, call us all kinds of names, will call us all kind of racial slurs. Some people from other races. I'm so sorry, y'all. I was late setting up, so it's not. Um, but they will call us racial slurs on excuse of mental health. Understanding though, I understand that people have been hurt, and people say hurting people hurt people. Yes, they do. They hurt people. Hurting people hurt people. But some people, enough is enough. But I'm thinking in my mind that some people's enough is enough is maybe I ought to have some patience. And some people's enough is enough is no, they could do better. When you have like different people go through different things, um, and handle those things differently. They had different people handle those things differently, life differently. Um, for myself and my siblings, we were all different ages. But when my mom passed, all three of us, all five of us, along with them doing my other two siblings, I must have cut the boys out or something, right? All five of us handled it so differently. And so did my dad. He went from Bernice taking care of the five kids, and she did a doggone good job. She was such a good mother. It was devastating. It was devastating the next day without her. And all of our lives were affected. We were all different ages. of course, 5 of us, and we all handle things differently. And I can see the pain that it caused our lives, and I can see how we came out in different ways. Some of us are still dealing with um, not only that, because of that, other things happened in our lives. You know, one brother, he's a seclude. You can call him. You gotta call him every day for 6 weeks, and you'll get a phone call. And I only get an hour a month. And if I take up my hour, okay. So you passed 45 minutes, so that's your hour for this month. Real, I'm not playing, for real. And but suppose something happened, you know, I'm your baby sister. Anyway, you know, we all know that's him. And my second sister, second to the oldest, we didn't have a mama anymore. And let me tell you something. Nobody else could be your mom. And until this day, she's very mothering. She had to become a mother, I think she was 12 or 13. So she had to become a mother at that age. And nothing in the world, that's her success point. I am a successful mom, but life made that for her. And the things that she had to push through, even when she had her own kids. And it was the only thing that kept her, I believe, sometimes, is knowing what would we do if we didn't have her, because she knew what happened to her when she didn't have her mom anymore. And I believe that times when she just could have given everything up, the only thing that kept her was the fact that she had people that she has to mother. And to this day, I tell her, you're that person. You're that person that God has chosen to hold the family together. Then I have another sister, the third person. She holds everything in. She holds everything in like a balloon is about to bust. So when that balloon is about to bust, because we know her, we know, and we'll step in and help her through, like, what's really going on. No, you didn't tell us all the truth. And how I handle things in a make-believe way. I make my world be something else. But, you know, like, oh, and that's part, I guess, of my excitement, staying excited. I'm going to go find something else. I'm going to get away from that, and I'm going to find something, because life is exciting. Life is exciting. And I guess in my own way I deal with things, but I don't hold on to it. I'm like, well, it is what it is. I'm a what it is kind of person, you know, like when I was divorced the first time, people said, how you doing? How you getting along? Oh, I'm fine. What? I'll dismiss it in a minute. Okay, that's not working. Dismiss. And sometimes that's not always good. And then I have the fifth person. He runs away from it. When things are going on, even in the family, he won't talk to anybody. He, you know, and he was just going through something, and we said, "Oh man, you're just like Daddy," acting like no. It's yes, and let's deal with it so we can solve the problem before we have a problem. But I went through the 5 of us without permission to say we handled it, but I don't believe any of that is toxic to people around us. But it is the toxic things. I just thank God for prayer. Um, I thank God for the love we have for each other that saved ourselves from ourselves. Because if we didn't have one another, I believe that those traits that I just explained could have been detrimental to us. The pain that we went through, and like I told you, that mama sister, oh, I always want to make it. Look, oh, it's a big bright picture. Oh, it's this, oh, this. And she'll just tell me sometimes, no, it's not. No, it is not. It is not that at all. And we're not going to handle it like that anymore. And we're not going to let people do us anything anymore. I guess maybe now that I'm talking about it, that's maybe where I got, we ain't doing that no more. No, we not. Girl, you the one, that's what she told me. You take all of that from them people. You the only person trying to make all of that work. You take it, and for real. I let people do it and do it and do it and do it. And I want to thank my friend Vanessa for tuning in today. We want to do it and do it and do it. And then I'm crushed. And then I'm crying. And then I'm trying to get over it. And I've taken so much that there's nothing you can come back and make it better. When I'm finished with you, you're done. You don't need to hang around. I ain't talking about or talking with you. You are part of my past. And I have taken the good parts of who you were in my life, and I'm going on. But you finished. You back there. I don't keep you right here. Because there was a reason you went back there. But I want to talk about what's toxic. What do you feel like toxicity is, and what brings a person to that point of toxicity? Because it's even family members. Some people say it's even parents and children. What brings you to the point of toxicity where people that's supposed to be building your life, you dismiss them? And for us as I see it in older men, but like that administrator this morning, you don't have, that's not a good leader. That's a person with a job, but that's not a leader, because nobody's gonna hang around to have you disrespect. Why do we come to that point? How do we come to that point? What, do you know anybody like that walks up and so negatively, I can't even use the word lead, because nobody's trying to go where you're going. You have friends that you can't. I can't bring all my friends together, because if they happen to know one another, they can't deal with each other. And I'm not lost for words, not at all. But what makes us so ugly? What I have somebody, I can't stand her. The person passed. This really happened. Good evening. Hey, how you doing? And when the person passed, she said, and this happened on more than one occasion. Can't call no names. She said, I can't stand her. You know what? Because I want to know what make you can't stand her. Like I'm asking right now. Do you know her? No, I don't know her. Why you don't? Why you can't stand her? Oh, it's just something about her. But you never saw her before. She merely passed. What could I believe that that's something that's going on inside of that person that maybe they see in that other person, or that part of themselves that they see, or part of a pain. Or some people, they get to a point in life where they feel like they've reached success. So they treat you like you're not good enough. But you were that person that helped them get to the point that they feel like is success in their lives. They feel like that's, like, I can't believe she's still there. I can't believe she's still doing the same things. The things that she's doing was how she helped you grow. And because now you can move to the other side of town, you feel like you're better than her. And some of the things that children go through is the pain of their parents. The parents' life. You ended up in a place where you didn't want to be. You had the children when you didn't want to have the children. And your life, you couldn't do the things that you want to do. You had this life that you planned, or you were never able to do those things. You ended up in a life where you didn't like it, and your bitterness ends up, you raise your children in bitterness. So those children, now that those people that you're raising, because we raise people to be men and women, even when they're babies. Now those people grow up with pain that they can't get out of. But am I on the right track? Is toxicity because of the things life experience? Is that what toxicity is? We had some people whose parents raised them like they were more than us, and we were to be subservient to them. And then when we grew up, we found out we were some bad mamma jammas. We learned, we learned who we are. But to get to the point that I'm trying to make with all of this, when I'm saying that about those people, once you come to know who you are, you don't put up with that no more. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to lay down and allow you to walk over me anymore. I'm not going to do that. I'm not that girl no more. I'm not that man anymore. But It's one more example. I want to say that I believe that just crossed my mind. Sometimes when we have kids, we give them everything, and that's not a good thing, because when you just give your children everything, they don't grow up to be able to do without you doing everything for them. But because they had everything, they don't even know how to treat their parent that's giving them everything anymore. And it don't only happen with parents. I told a patient that just the other day, I said, look, this man can't even clean himself. And he dogs out, lies on, and try to destroy the people that's there to help him be clean, to help him with life functions. He tried to get all of them fired. He even tried to get me fired one time. But you can't, and then you do all of this for him. Now he's sold you out. Secret says some people don't know how to separate their personal problems from work. So they bring the problems to work, and it causes problems on the job. And you know what, Sigrid, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. You can have a job that you would really love, but Diana, I'm making that name up in case anybody gets the name Diana. But every day Diana's at work. Every day that Diana's at work, it's a miserable day. We had a young lady on the job that I work with. Then she transferred. And oh my God, it got so much better just because she was gone. And Secret, you are absolutely right. Because so many of us are not equipped to handle our personal issues. And the first reason is because we don't know or understand ourselves. You don't even know who you are and what you want. You know, a person told me the other day, I'm in a relationship and I just do everything for him. I say, well, do he do the same for you? Well, she didn't give me a definite answer. I said, well, what is it that you want from him? What is it that you want out of the relationship? She said, I don't know. I don't know. And I think some of that, not knowing how to handle your problems and bringing your problems, it's not everybody's fault that you're going through with that. It's nobody's fault on that job, on your job, that you're going through what you're going through. So I'm just saying this is what because she thinking, you don't know what people thinking. That's what you're feeling. What you think you thinking, you thinking that. You're feeling that. I remember when I was at a church, because she think this and she think that. And somebody who knew me said, she don't think about you. You're not what she thinks about. Maybe you're thinking that. And sometimes when we're taking our lives out on people, we think that brings a solution for us, but it doesn't. It's not cool to have nobody on the job want to see you around. Because that's not going to fix anything for anybody. So to bring solution to what I think is toxicity, unless somebody else want to say something, um, to bring solution to what I think is toxicity, is going to first start with each individual. So before you go for a job, before you come home from a job, consider you. Consider your contributions to the problem. Am I the problem? Like this morning, was I appropriate in turning to that woman? I'll say this so I didn't tell you all this part, I think. And I wanted her to be able to read my lips. Dealing with black ass women. I'm sorry for saying that word, but I mouthed that. So she can see that I mouthed that. Was that necessary? Was I out of line? I didn't know she was the administrator at the time. But knowing me, I can tell you it wouldn't have made a difference if I did. But if I don't say something, then you're going to think you could treat me like that again. But that's how I feel. So if anybody feels differently or have something to say about that, please tell me, because I want to grow. But how do we deal with the toxic issues in the family? Either the family, like the family is just not what it used to be anyway. But it's at the time, even if it's just wedding and funerals, there's that one person you just say, oh God, I hope they don't come. If it's going to be a fight in the middle of the family meeting, my sister was telling me, oh, it was so beautiful. Everything was going beautiful until this person who didn't have anything to do with the situation that was going on, but the people who were enjoying themselves decided they were going to fix things between them. And then everything, just dismantled. The person who starts the fight, the person who never brings nothing but start packing up food to take home before they leave, the person who sits here and gossips about everybody, and gossips about everybody in the family. We have those things in the class, like we talked about on the job. I believe all of that is people not knowing themselves, and I think another big problem in our society is people want people to be like them. Everybody's not going to be like you. Nola Reed says, good evening. Hi, Nola. Everybody's not going to be like you. I can't stand this. And when you can't stand her, you can't stand this, you can't stand to be around her and her and her, because they don't do it like you. And we think the only right way to do things is the way we do things. Because I do it like this. Because I react like this. My timing is like this. Everybody's should be. I can't stand when she do that. But that's who she is and that's what she do. And really nothing is wrong with it. sometimes. And we're talking about how you can deal with your own toxicity, or how you can deal with that part of you that set up toxic moments. Because I believe that's what's destroying our families. That's what's destroying, it never was when I was coming up that you would think about, I don't speak to my sister. If you and your sister fought all day long, you still spoke to your sister. But these days, your very sister, and I thank God for my two, your very sister can be intolerable. As a matter of fact, this just crossed my mind. And it's real. Crossed my mind to say, but you have 3 sisters. And I do. I have 3 sisters. But I'm to the point with my own sister, and like this is, you gotta be real if you're gonna do the thing, you gotta be real. But I have been through a lot with my sister. We during this conversation, I can think maybe all of that came out for me to say we've been through a lot of things, but we weren't raised together. She wasn't part of my mom's 5 kids. She's my daddy's daughter from a marriage before my mom. And I think that I was the closest one to her in the family. I was always there, always went through. So, because I don't have people's permission to talk about them, but there was a situation that came up with her children, her children, and she's older now, and she asked me to do something. I attempted to do it, and it was her children's right to do it any way they wanted to do it, but it wasn't their right to treat me any way they wanted to treat me while they were doing what they were doing. And I, in the middle of it all, I walked out and said, well, y'all can have it all. And then one of them wanted me to do the part that they wanted me to do. Baby, I'm finished. Somebody got to tell you when I'm finished. Like the old folks used to say, I wash my hands with you. And the sad part about that is, I ain't doing that anymore. That's number one. And number 2, like they say, is I'm not fighting people to help you. But you didn't want me to help. You didn't want me to do what she said. I didn't have to do it. Even if me initiating getting it together made you think of, because they're grown. Well, Auntie showed me, we want to do it ourselves. Show us how to do it. Then I would have been very well with that. I would have been all excited to show you how to do it and to even help you where you need me to help you do it. But the way you handled it and the way you did it, girl, look, you just don't know. You put a period on the end of that story. And I'm not sorry. I'm sorry it went that way. It didn't have to go that way, but it did. It went that way. You took it down that street. I don't travel on that street. That's my real. Am I happy about that? No. No, I'm not. I'm not happy about that. I never saw it coming. I never saw it coming, and I'm not happy about it, but I'm all right with it. But how do in our community, and I'm glad that came up today. Maybe somebody have something they can say. You know, like how do we get to this point as a people, as the one who wants to bring wisdom, strength, love, and reconstruction, because we under as a people, I believe we need reconstruction. How do you become so that's the beginning to me. That's the beginning of toxicity. This is the end of toxicity. How do you become so toxic? Our society is toxic. I have the video is up, did this interview, a beautiful young man, being brought up, next generation being brought up with older guys, came in, gave such a great interview. Him and the other two guys, it was a great, great interview. At the gas station this weekend. At the gas station. Got shot down and murdered. How did the hood become so toxic that we don't want to be there no more? How did the hood become so toxic that myself as an older woman, y'all are storming. So, if electricity go out, we'll be off and I'll see you next week. But how did our neighborhoods go from we take care of the older people to the older people can't live around us because they're not safe? Look at the old lady had to beat the man up in the house, beat him up so bad, and then the police came. But look at the old lady that got raped in her house. The young man broke in her house and raped her. And how I know about that is because he was my patient. He was such a nice guy. When he was sick, everybody know, I'm going to do corrections. So he was sick and took care of him. And then one day I turned on the news and he was found guilty. And the lady was saying, I'm so glad that he was found guilty and he's not out there to harm anybody else. And my grandkids were here at the time. I was like, that's my patient. That's so, I was shocked talking to them. And I think they became so afraid of me working in the jail. I didn't have time to think. I was shocked here. Come on the TV, but our homes and our families are so toxic that it's spilling out in the street. I met so many gangbangers, young men, and they're not all black. But, my heart is with my sons, okay? And my heart is with everyone. But anyway, my heart is with my sons. And Mama and daddy, you can't stay at the house with mom. Mom is living with someone who said no, you can't bring no children. In my day, that would have never happened. But anyway, so he um, went out hungry, I guess. Met somebody who gave him a gun, told him to go steal cars at night because he's a juvie, right? To go steal cars, don't kill nobody unless your life is threatened. That's the training they give. And he was stealing cars and selling them to the people who sent them out. Had a crackhead, he said, pay for his hotel room because he can't, he's a juvenile. Pay for his hotel room, and he, that's how he lived. What am I gonna say to him? I can't say, come live at my house. Don't do that. I did, counsel him, showed him love. But how anybody have any ideas, anybody online have any ideas from ourselves to our families to our communities? How do we detox? Oh, there's such a silence. How do we become a unit that work together? I remember, as I say often, how our neighbors helped each other. When one was short, one was long, in the whole neighborhood, and we have reunited with some of our friends from childhood in our neighborhoods where we were born and raised and grew up. And one person just to bring us together and bond us, she made us shirts and purses. Um, from the ninth ward, I'm a nine girl. From the ninth ward and all the streets in the lower nine. That's where I'm from. But we work together. We were a community. From then until now, what are we missing? Are we so finished that we are not willing to even think about it? Are we not willing? This is Nola, who's 3 generations past my generation, which is great to have a young person thinking about this. You have to detox for you and nobody else. That's first. Also, a person has to want to heal. We can't make them. That's a hurtful truth. Also, being away, I'm making up a word that I can't see. Being away can be best, and that's okay. I know, and that's the sad part. Because me and my best friend, she's online tonight. We were just talking today. We both are activists. We both, Vanessa and I, we both work in the community. We both activists, and we can't live in the community anymore. But we feel safe. We understand that that's the best thing for us to do. To live in gated communities, to be safe behind the gate. And we had to do that for us first. And I guess that's Nola. I think you right. It's hurtful, but I don't know how we gonna fix it. But I was speaking to this guy. You know, the place where I'm working sometimes now, these are people who have been in jail for 30, 40 years. I think this guy that I was talking to today, I said, look, I don't know if he can ever get out, but I don't want to ever take his hope. He's in the place where I work, but it's not a prison, but it's like a prison assisted living, but it's not with the officers are not there running like prison, but the officers are available to run it like that. I said, well, look, come on now, you gotta do something. You gotta get out here. You can have your phone, you have your pad, you gotta set up your Facebook and talk to these young guys. And I said, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make a post and I'm gonna say your first name and I'm gonna say you said blah 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 blah. I don't remember. I gotta remember so I can make the post because I want to be true to my word. That became such a big deal to him. He said, how do I want to do something to stop young guys' life from being where my life is today? Because of bad behavior, he's in prison for life. Even though where I work is a fresh breath of air for an opportunity to become human again. Because I'm telling you, one guy would say he had been in prison for 50 years. I think that was the longest one, about 50, a little more than 50. I talked to a guy that was had went to Al Green concert, and from then, whatever happened, he killed somebody that night, and he'll never get out of prison. And I think if they could talk from behind the bars, I think if they can talk to young men, it could make a difference. And I think maybe for that extreme, like I was talking about the guy, 14 years old, 13, 14, living on the street, stealing cars with guns, robbing people, um, to have a place to stay and food to eat. I think that has to come from somebody else that they would only see us to take advantage of. And I was saying that, Kristen, I was saying that, Nola, to say, you're right. We have to take care of ourselves first. And it's almost selfish. I was telling my girlfriend how self-involved I have become at this time. I said, I have spent my whole life, and so many of us have spent our whole life. You are so right, Nola. We need to take these last few years that we have left for ourselves. And unfortunately, but it's fortunate that they have the gated communities that we can live in. And not a false sense of security, but it's still better. I can get out of my car and walk to my front door without being afraid every day. And who's there behind that car? It's a sad truth, I guess, that we face today, but the truth marches on. And we're going to do fine. And if things don't change, I don't know what we're going to do because more and more people are losing their jobs. And it's so hard to find a job now because there's so many people looking for a job. And there's so many people feeling like they can disrespect us because people need jobs. And so many toxic people is the quote unquote boss. But we're going to keep praying. We're going to stay happy. We're going to stay excited. And we're going to keep praying. And Chris and Nola, we're going to stay safe. Especially us older people that's by ourselves. We're going to stay safe. I have a special arm on tonight, y'all. Henrietta, that's my Valine bracelet Henrietta had made for me in Ghana. My special precious baby 9. This is hers. And an old lady, she had beads from different countries, Israel, that she made this bracelet for me. And I just wanted to say thank you to them for that. This is my special arm when I wear it. But thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for listening. Thanks for your input. I hope tonight don't have us sad because we still going to be the community that we are as Vivacious Speaks grow, and we're growing every day. We're taking power over our own lives, and when we become the greater number, the rest must follow. Because I promise you this, every great movement in America had a woman behind it. And most of them had a black woman behind it. Anyway, we love you. See you next week. Don't forget to like before you hang up. Have a good life. See you next week.